In the kingdom of Oldor, once a beacon of unity and prosperity, the seeds of division had been sown by a cunning foreign adversary. Over the years, subtle manipulations, whispered lies, and strategic betrayals had taken root, turning Oldorian against Oldorian. The once thriving kingdom now teetered on the brink of collapse, with factions forming around every issue and trust in the government eroded to the point of near anarchy. Lord Castor, a seasoned leader with a reputation for unwavering dedication to his people, watched in despair as his beloved nation crumbled from within. The once vibrant cities were now filled with suspicion and unrest as the people grew increasingly disillusioned with its leaders. Rumors of foreign influence whirled through the streets, but few realized just how deep the corruption ran. Castor, a man known for his keen intellect and oratory skills, knew that Oldor's survival depended on swift and decisive action. He had spent years cultivating loyalty among his advisors, but even he had not been immune to the rot that had spread within his ranks. Through careful investigation and the help of a brave whistleblower, Castor uncovered the full extent of the treachery. High-ranking officials, trusted advisors, and even members of his inner circle had been secretly aiding the foreign adversary in exchange for power, wealth, and the promise of safety should the kingdom fall. The revelation shook Castor to his core, but it also steered his resolve. He knew that to save Oldor, he would have to make a bold move, one that would either unite his people or plunge them into chaos. As the kingdom's tensions reached a boiling point, Castor prepared for what would be the most important speech of his life. He knew that he had to expose the corruption within his government, reveal the foreign manipulation, and offer a path forward that would inspire hope and strength in the hearts of his people. But he also understood the risk. His words would incite fear, anger, and even violence if not delivered with the utmost care. With the weight of Oldor's future on his shoulders, Castor devised a plan that would strike at the heart of the enemy while simultaneously purging his own ranks of traitors. The stage was set. The fate of the kingdom would soon be decided. The day of Lord Castor's speech dawned with a palpable sense of unease. The assembly hall in the capital city of Eldritch was filled with a tense silence as representatives from every corner of Oldor gathered to hear what their leader had to say. Whispers of treachery and impending conflict buzzed through the crowd, but no one knew exactly what to expect. Outside the hall, the streets were lined with citizens, their faces etched with worry and anticipation. The once bustling marketplaces were quiet as people abandoned their daily routines to await the outcome of Castor's address. Castor stood in his private chamber, preparing himself for his monumental task ahead. His reflection in the mirror revealed a man who had aged beyond his years, his face lined with worry and determination. He knew that his speech would be a defining moment of his leadership, a moment that would either cement his legacy as a savior of Oldor or mark the downfall as a man who failed to save his people. He took a deep breath, pushing aside the doubts that had threatened to cloud his mind, and focused on the words he had carefully crafted. Every sentence, every pause had been meticulously planned to convey the gravity of the situation and the path forward. As he entered the assembly hall, all eyes turned to him. The room was filled with representatives, noblemen, military leaders, and influential figures, each of whom held the power to sway the opinions of their respective regions. Castor could see the fear and suspicion in their eyes, but he also sensed a flicker of hope, a desperate desire for someone to take control and steer the kingdom out of the descent into chaos. He walked to the center of the room, his steps echoing in the silence, and turned to face his audience. The weight of the moment pressed down on him, but he stood tall, his resolve unshakable. Castor began his speech with a recounting of Oldor's proud history, a kingdom built on unity, strength, and the shared values of his people. He spoke of the challenges they had faced in the past and how he had always overcome them through solidarity and determination. But then his tone shifted, growing darker as he addressed the present situation. He revealed the foreign influence that had seeped into their society, poisoning the minds of their leaders and driving wedges between the people. The room was deathly silent as Castor described the network of corruption he had uncovered, the betrayals that had weakened the very foundation of the kingdom. As the revelation sunk in, murmurs of disbelief and anger rippled through the assembly. Castor could see the unrest growing, but he pressed on, knowing that he had to guide their emotions toward a unified purpose. He spoke of the whistleblower who had risked everything to bring the truth to light, and how even as he delivered the speech, Oldorian forces were striking at the heart of the enemy's capital, seizing secret bases and crippling the foreign power that had sought to destroy them. The crowd's tension reached its peak, and Castor knew it was time to deliver the final blow, the purge of the traitors within. With the room now on edge, Lord Caster paused, allowing the gravity of his words to settle in. He could see the shock and the horror on the faces of the representatives as they realized the extent of the corruption that had infiltrated their ranks. But he also saw something else, a glimmer of resolve, a shared understanding that had been deceived and that something had to be done. The moment had come to unmask the traitors who had betrayed their kingdom. Caster's voice was firm as he called out the names of those who had conspired with the enemy. One by one, he revealed the identities of the corrupt officials, their crimes laid bare for all to see. The accused who had been seated among the assembly suddenly found themselves the focus of the crowd's wrath. Faces that had been filled with confidence now paled with fear as the full weight of the betrayal came crashing down upon them. As Caster finished naming the traitors, the room erupted in chaos. Some of the accused tried to protest their innocence, but their voices were drowned out by the angry shouts of their peers. Others attempted to flee, but Caster had anticipated this. At his signal, guards stationed at the entrances moved swiftly to detain the traitors, ensuring that none could escape justice. The scene was chaotic, but Caster remained calm, knowing that this was a necessary step to cleansing the kingdom of its eternal rot. As the last traitors were taken away, Caster turned his attention back to the assembly. The room was now filled with a mix of emotions, anger, betrayal, and a deep sense of loss. But beneath it all, there was also a growing determination to set things right. Caster seized on the moment, urging the representatives to focus their energy on rebuilding the kingdom, on restoring the trust that had been shattered, and on unifying against the common enemy that has sought to destroy them from within. He spoke of the need for vigilance, for a renewed commitment to the values that had once made Oldor strong. He called for reforms to ensure that such corruptions could never take root again, and for a renewed focus on the welfare of his people. Caster knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, but he was confident with the right leadership and a unified people, Oldor could rise from the ashes and reclaim its former glory. As he concluded his speech, the room was filled with a sense of purpose. The representatives, once divided by fear and mistrust, were now unified in their determination to rebuild their kingdom. Caster had not only exposed the traitors and struck a decisive blow against the foreign adversary, but he also rekindled the flame of duty and honor in the hearts of his people. Oldor had been given a second chance, and Caster was determined to lead them into a future of strength and unity.